This is the plaintiff, Janice. She says she hired the defendant to make custom shades for some windows in her house. And after she did a little research, she found out she was being grossly overcharged. She asked the defendant if she could match the price. She couldn't, so she decided to take her business elsewhere. Now the shady woman won't return her deposit, and that's why she's here suing today for the $1,400 she's owed. This is the defendant, Carrie Kunish. She says she did a ton of work designing the shades with the plaintiff, measuring her windows and running around like a chicken for her. She deserves to keep the money she was paid to cover all that work and her time, and the plaintiff simply doesn't understand how things work, but she thinks the judge will. She is accused of being a shady lady.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff hired the defendant to make custom shades, but when she realized she was being overcharged, she wanted her money back. The defendant says that she did tons of work. It's the case of justice is blind.
Thank you, Douglas. Janice, you've asked to be referred to only as Janice. You are suing Carrie Kunish?
Yes.
For $1,400, the amount that you put down as a deposit for shades, and you didn't end up having them done by her. Tell me what's going on.
Back in October, I decided to get shades and curtains for my home. Had a lady from Metropolitan come to my house, another interior designer, with a free consultation, and she came, I think, in early October. I mentioned this to my neighbor. She said that she has a friend that does shades and curtains and that she's extremely competitively priced. So I said, great. So she came with my neighbor to my house. We met, we talked about what I needed done, and then at the end of the meeting, she had given me an invoice for a consulting fee and a deposit for the master shades because we wanted to focus. I had no shades in my bathroom, my master bathroom, so I needed shades. So that was what we were going to start with. And when she left, I gave her a check because she was my neighbor's friend.
Okay, now yeah, but that's not why you give somebody a check.
Right, no, but I was trusting of her.
Trusting what? Why are you handing over a check when there is no estimate yet for the actual shade work? Because I don't usually see this where someone lays a deposit with a price unknown. Can I see your copy of the document that you got from her, the contract?
But that's the only...
This is the only thing I'm writing between the two of you. It says consultation for windows, blinds, shades, and decorative treatments. And then it says $250. Did you know going in that there was a $250 consult fee?
Not at all.
That had never been mentioned.
This was given to me when she was leaving, so I felt awkward because she was a friend of my neighbor's, so
okay, seriously, you got to get a backbone, though. But anyway all this says is deposit for master bath, master closet, $1,400. Then it says minus $1,650.
Because I gave her the check for $1,650.
No, you gave her the check for the consult and for the deposit for the master bath.
Right.
Like I get getting billed for a consult if you're not hiring them and you agreed to it. I don't get getting billed for the consult and buying from her. I mean, I don't know. Did you have an agreement with her? Did she pay you $250 an hour or something? Or
that's my consultation fee when I meet with client.
Okay, but how would she know that and have agreed to it before the meeting?
Well, usually I have a conversation with the client before I meet with them. This was arranged through, like she said, a friend of ours. And she usually tells the person that there's a consultation fee. So whether, but we, at the end of the meeting, when
nothing's stopping you from calling her and saying, I just want to be clear with you, this is what I charge for
I said that when I was leaving, when I handed it to her, I said there is a consultation fee.
The idea is that you're supposed to say it beforehand. Because if you say it beforehand, she has a chance to back out.
Right.
But what she did instead was go humana, 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 panic, and write it. And now she's mad and she doesn't want to do it because everything's fallen to pieces between the two of you. And now we'll discuss that. That's the $250. The $1,400, you're laying down a deposit and nothing in this talks about what it's for. Like you have nothing, there's just a deposit laid with no terms of what you're getting for the money. Why would you hand over a deposit before you've decided what you're buying? This is a reason to pay the $250, not to pay the deposit.
Right.
I'll ask her in a minute why she's charging it, but I want to know why you'd pay it, because that's more baffling. I know why she's charging it. She wants money. Why are you paying it?
Well, because I had already found curtains that I had liked, and she said that they could beat those prices.
Okay. You then tell her it's going to cost how much?
$2,500.
Okay, so then she tells you $2,500, and you decide you're going to go shopping.
No. In the interim, the lady who I had met with a week earlier sent me an email saying, oh, she did price up those shades and said that they were $16.20.
Okay,
the exact
why would
ones.
you not have waited for her answer before you bring another person in and pay them a deposit? Because her answer mattered to you, apparently.
It did, but I thought they would be a competitive, like if one was $1,600 and one was $1,700.
I'm not asking why you get two people competing at the same time. That's brilliant. And I'm not asking why you research stuff. That's brilliant. The part I'm not getting is why you pay a deposit before you know if they're competitive.
Because
see,
on
it
the
sounds
spot.
like here's
It's
the
my
thing,
own
Johnny.
fault,
If you want an
right?
interior designer to help you, usually they're telling you stuff. But you can go to Home Depot and get these damn things. You can get them on the internet. You know what you want.
Right.
So what were you using her for? Because she's not going to get you the best price. She's an interior designer. She's going to use her craft, which usually when people hire her, that's what they want. What color looks best in this scheme? What size of honeycomb should I get? That's what you're using her for. Are you using her for that?
Yeah, then we talked about doing my curtains for my family room. And I said,
Yeah, but hold on, before you do that, you tell her, listen, I can get what I want so much cheaper at this other place, I'm going to go with them.
no. She said that quote. I said, I got another quote from the other place, and her quote was $1,600. She's like, oh, let me talk to my supplier. Let me see what I can do. She came back and said, oh, my supplier said he could do $2,100, which was still substantially more.
Right. So basically, she tells you, I can't do it for less than 21.
Right.
And then you say, forget it, let's do something. Let's put my deposit towards these other
the
shades. Because
well, no, curtains.
Curtains,
Yeah.
because I'm going to go ahead and go with the cheaper one. And she says yes. So now we go to the next phase, which are the curtains.
Curtains.
So go ahead.
So then she comes back with two quotes. One was like two different options if you just do panels, which is what I wanted, which was I think $6,400 without the hardware. You know, I said, okay, that's great, but I don't know if this is reasonable. Since the last quote was so much, I need to go get another quote. So then I did go back to the first designer just to see if it was reasonable, because if it was reasonable, I'm happy to go, with her. So I found out it wasn't reasonable. And then the labor costs, I got the quote from her. The labor she wanted to charge was $3,200 for the 4 windows, and the other place it was $1,000 for the 4 windows. And I
How
said,
much
can you
time
do it?
did you spend with her picking out the options for...
Just at the beginning, when she came to the house initially, because then she was going to get me the samples.
And then did she get samples?
No, she kept saying she was going to get them, and then she had to order them again.
Did you ever see samples?
I never got the samples that she was going to bring.
Did
She
you
brought
see any
sample
samples?
books when she came initially back in
Initially,
October.
she brought several books with her.
Yes.
And then what
And
about, did
curtains.
she measure?
She did measure. Then
How long was she there in the first consultation?
A couple hours.
What's a couple of hours? 2
2 to
or
3.
7?
No, 2 to 3.
Okay, 2 to 3. And how long was she there in the second consultation?
I think 2 to 3.
What did you guys do in 2 to 3 hours?
Well, we looked at the house saying, well, maybe what curtains we could do in the
We were
house.
doing 11 rooms,
Well,
measuring.
you don't have a contract
picking
for
up-
11 rooms. You know that, right?
No, I don't. I've worked in this business and
But
I
you
haven't had
put
to
in a
have
lot of
contract.
time for somebody who doesn't have a contract.
Okay, so she puts a deposit down on shades without knowing what it's going to cost. Kind of dumb?
I think maybe a little bit, because then she doesn't know how much else she's going to have to pay, and then it could get into a sticky situation.
What do you say?
I would have asked him how much the price is before I put down the deposit.
Well, you got to be a bozo to do it without, right?
I need to,
No kidding. Going inside the courtroom.
Do you have a contract that you enter into with your clients ever?
I've never had to deal
You
with
should
that.
do that. You should
In
do that, though.
12
It
years I've
protects
been
you.
doing this
Yeah,
on
but
my
you
own.
should. Well, you should, because even once in 12 years is more than most people get sued. But what you have is a piece of paper that says consultation $250, deposit for master bath and master closet $1,400. That's the only thing there's a deposit for. It's not a deposit for 11 rooms. But according to you, you are at some point when she said this just isn't reasonable. Can you send me my deposit back? What do you get back from her in text?
She said, yeah, I'll send you. I said, can you meet the $4,000? She said, no, I can't meet that price. And I said, can you send my deposit back? She said, I'll send you your remaining deposit back.
And then what happens, though? What changed your mind? Because what you ended up doing was sending her a check for $62. How did you go from I'll send you back your deposit to that? Show me your text that says I'm sending you back the deposit.
I said, remaining deposit.
Oh,
Which
it was remaining deposit? Oh, I thought it was
Yeah,
deposit.
no, it
Right.
was. And I
That's
thought that
fine.
meant less the consulting fee.
Okay, so you assumed remaining deposit meant less the consultant fee, and
Right,
she
'cause she
assumes
was
remaining
entitled to
deposit is when I've squeezed every last inch out of this lemon. Here's the thing: I am very sympathetic to your position in terms of that. I'm a shopper, and so I know that what I'm paying for is your art that you are picking out that chair. So I have written checks that I know were a lot more. I assumed it would be a 20 or 30% markup, but I've taken the risk of what the markup is because I'm engaging you and all of that. But here's the thing. You have no contract with her. and no specific price. When someone leaves a deposit, it's on a contract. So there has to be a quote. And if it's a retainer and it's a non-refundable retainer, then that's what the words have to be in your contract. But when what you put is deposit for master bath and master closet, and then you don't do the master bath and master closet, she tells you I can get it cheaper, you say, okay, no problem. And then she says, I'll tell you what, let's look at the rest of the stuff. And then she says, well, you know what, we're not coming to terms. We can't come to terms. You didn't have terms that you come, in other words, this isn't a deposit on a contract, which would be non-refundable. Right. This is a deposit on the idea of coming to terms on a contract. And my default position on deposits is always, too bad, so sad for you. But I still have to find a contract. I don't even have anything here talking about what the ultimate price is going to be. So we put the cart before the horse, giving the $1,400. You put the cart before the horse, asking for the $1,400. And the penalty for not having the contract is she gets back the $1,400. If all she had done was met with you that one day, and you had said, you know what? I can't believe I wrote this check to her for $1,650. I've thought about it. I shouldn't have done it. I stopped payment on it. And then I said to her, we're not working together. That'd be one thing. I'd say, you know what? You sprung it on her. I think she's kind of right. But what you did was you continued to use her. How is that not worth something? Clearly, she's going to get the $250. And I think that it's fair for you to be paid for your time. I'm just not sure that it's as much as you think it is. And I'm in a quandary about what it should be. Because at the end of the day, this is a very unusual case where everyone is proceeding like they have come to terms, even though they haven't. I don't mind that there's not a written contract. You have verbal contracts all over America every day of the world. But we don't even have a verbal contract because we don't have prices yet, and we don't have her hiring you as a decorator for real, where it's X an hour or X for the room. It's literally, it's kind of like she's buying shades from you. Really, because that's the only thing you guys are talking about, shades and curtains, because that's the only thing you guys are talking about. And yes, she knows you're a designer and she knows that she's paying for that, but nobody's talked about what she's paying for that. So if there was a contract, then I would order her to, too bad, so sad, you relinquish the $1,400. But since there's not, but there is, her using your talent and your taste, and she has to know that's going to cost her something, I am going to decide how much you're going to return now. You're not going to be happy, and you're not going to be happy. I guarantee it. I'm going to order, you know what? It's everybody's mistake, so we're going to split the baby here. I'm going to order the return of $700, verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
So the lack of a contract, either verbal or written or otherwise, cost both parties. What do you think? How do you feel about the decision?
Well, of course, I would have liked it to go the other way, but
Right.
I didn't do a contract, and I will change how I work.
I was going to say, I think you learned something
Yes, I
here in
did.
court
I
today.
did. Learned something new.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
you
you.
very much. Sorry I lost, but that's it.
Thank you.
Now, here comes Janice, the plaintiff. She's on her way out of the courtroom. You wanted $1,400. You got half of it back.
Right.
I think you probably learned something about giving a deposit, haven't
Definitely.
you?
I won't be giving a deposit without a contract and without getting terms explained to me in the future.
A tough way to learn a lesson. And who was this? We never heard from
This is my best friend, Lisa.
Oh, so your
My
moral support. Okay.
support.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Harvey, interesting contract case.
Okay, so I'm going to teach you a little 15-second version of law here. It is called quantum meruit, and that means that if you don't have a contract that's enforceable because the terms are missing, you can still award somebody the reasonable value of the services that that person actually renders.